وفي بعض المقاولين they are looking for projects. They are dying. Just like somebody who is really, really hungry and somebody who is full. Somebody is really hungry, he might bid even below the cost. Why? لأنه هناك في he has a running cost. He has to pay for labors and he has to pay for equipment, rent. There are a lot of things. بالطريقة اللي هو بيسويها, it is reducing or minimizing his losses. Instead of losing like 30 million a month, he might lose like 1 million or 2 million. He will accept that. فعملية bidding and the pricing is totally different. But the bidding itself is a tactic. There is a strategies for it. Okay? But you're absolutely right. There must be some kind of an estimate that it's considered as a reference, and it is existing. There are some contractors who are bidding below like 30%, they will be disqualified. Okay? Now, if we look at the material, by the way, I set up this slide just like 3 o'clock in the morning, so please bear with me. All right? When we're talking about a major component, most of the project will cost, the material cost is about 60-70% of the total cost of the project, isn't it? So we want to make sure that we are going to control the cost of the project, and to make a good estimate, we have to get to the quantity of the material. And there are certain material that will stay in the project, and there are certain material that will be used and removed. So they are considered as temporary material, and this is what we consider as indirect material. If you look at the material cost, it is supposedly it is the quantity multiplied by the price for all material. And the source of material prices, it is the direct cost from suppliers. This is what you do. You have some suppliers, you call them and tell them what is the price for today. And right now you can get it even from China, from the United States, from anywhere. You can get it in no time. You can get it from your company records, or you can make it as a negotiated prices. Sometimes, and this is what we do for industrial project, we written costs solicited with details and specs. Okay, this is part of the processes. If you look at the quantity of any item can be determined from the plans. This is the quantity, and the specs will tell you the quality. For material administration, and here to answer your question, material is a very precious to the project, and every effect that might have, it will, if you want to make saving and you make something that is going to be recordable for the project, you have to control material as well as controlling the labor. There are certain things that need to be answered. First of all, when to produce, when you want it to be produced. You don't want to bring something that you will set it on site. Small material, you bring it to the site in quantities, you will lose them because of theft. Bring big material or big items, you have to do a lot of maintenance until it is installed. So you have to make a decision when to produce it, from whom to buy, local or international. And even from local, if you have more than one source, which source that you're going to buy. How much? This is a question. And then when to buy. And this is the most important part of the whole thing. When? Am I going to buy all the material that I need at the beginning of the project? Or am I going to do it in a certain strategy? The way that we're doing it in portions. We buy certain things. But there must be some kind of a system to do that. First of all, you have most construction material are delivered directly to the project site. This is a fact. You have material buying for construction project is normally planned at the time of estimating project cost. So there must be some kind of a chart, basically, one chart. This is what they call it as the long lead items schedule. So you schedule all of those by time when they are going to be there. And then to minimize material cost, try to reduce cost of purchasing, inventory, handling, and waste. Those are the three areas where you are going to make it or break it for the material. In the purchasing, for instance, either you purchase it as needed by means of purchase orders, or you make it as in lump sum contract, or just like the former. This is what we are doing, is preferred because it eliminates cost of associated like inventory, theft, misplacement, and damages. I've seen some in certain projects where the contractor has lost a lot of money just because of the material. And at the end of the project, you will see that they have a lot of surpluses. And those surpluses, sometimes they are auctioned, and sometimes they are thrown into as a scrap. And this is, again, it is a loss when you're dealing with that. So if you wanted to do the purchase order, first of all, we have to do it as we need it. There is an inventory technique. You have to have the minimum, okay, acceptable level for all the material. At that, there will be some kind of raising a flag that start making the order. This is what they do. So it is initiated and authorized by personnel in the construction site. So they need it. They don't send it to the supplier. We make big mistakes over here by letting the contractor or the project manager to request it directly from the site, from the suppliers. It's a big mistake because it's a loss. It is a loss in a sense that the supplier will not be able to capture the invoice. And there are a lot of invoices that are claimed that are not correct. So there must be some kind of a system to do that. And usually when the initiated the personnel, they will make it in 2 copies. One for the field office record, and this is another thing that also is very, very important. And I would love to see it in all our projects, honestly. Small project, big project, medium project. Documentation. Documentation is one of the most important activity for any project. Why? Why do you think documentation is very important?
عشان الريكورد بتاع المشاريع اللي بعد كده.
This is one. This is one. What else?
Record review for the
controlling the cost.
Evidence. Evidence. Protecting yourself from claims. Protecting yourself from claims. At the end of the project, if you claim that you have spent this amount of hours and you have the approval in oral approval, the owner told me it's not going to hold any kind of evidence in the court of law. But if you have it in writing and you said that you accepted my proposal to change this or to add or to execute another activity, and you have it in writing, then this is going to protect your right. He's not going to deny it. And even if he tells you in orally, he's not denying, but he doesn't remember. We are human. So in order to do that, you have to keep records and documentation. Documentation of correspondences, documentation of change orders, documentation of change in the drawings, documentation of everything that is going to happen for this project. At the end of the project, then you will have what they call it as the summary report. Usually the project manager is required to prepare at least a report that will be used for the future projects. This is what we call it as building up experience with the contractor organization. This is the building, how you build your experience. Okay? And the other one, that will go for the accounting and estimation. You see, the accounting is to account for the prices, and the estimating is to make sure that they will benefit from this in the future. Home office will send a purchase order to the material supplier who has been selected. And then the material supplier will send the material to the site and the invoice either. Here, you have to make sure within your system that he will send it to the home office or send it to the field office. You have to give them a destination where he is going to be, or to both. Most of the time it is to both. So if it is missing here, it could be captured somewhere else, usually. عليكم السلام. يا هلا والله حياك. أهلا. أهلا وسهلا بك حياك الله. هلا. So basically what we have is, once you have all of this recorded and the material is controlled, when it is come to the site or receiving them, the site management, they have a lot of things to do and they have to exercise a lot of activities and they have a lot of responsibilities. First of all, they have to check every shipment that it's coming, it is correspondent to the requested material. The quantity and quality, they have to check that. Lack of defected materials. They have to sign for the material receipt, prepare a report of receipt of material and send it to the accounting and estimating department. Again, to send it to the accounting, this is where they are going to prepare the invoice or the certified or the check, and this one is going to be used for future estimating. So it is a complete system. Every time that you are thinking about a contractor constitutes of different departments, but each department should complement each other in order to work as one unit. And inventory and waste. Protection against theft. Don't order whatever you need only for the amount, maybe for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or for 1 month. But if you are ordering more, it depends on the material that you are ordering. If you are ordering for quantities, then you have to provide for this protection against theft, misplacement and damages, analysis of purchase order, deliveries, usage to use to alert firms to any loss of material. Okay, and then you have the authorization and security procedure for protecting material, and this is important to control the waste factor. Material. If you are working for a project for Saudi Aramco, for instance, and you are getting some material from Saudi Aramco, at the end you have to make some kind of matching from whatever you have used and the remaining, and you have to return whatever is considered as a surplus. If you don't keep control on the amount that you receive, and if you don't keep control in the amount that are used and certified, at the end you will be hammered by a lot of deductions. So that's why it is a must that you have to control also the inventory that you have, regardless if it is going to be for the owner's material or for your own material. As I told you, most of the money that you are spending is in the material and labor. But if you look at labor in projects and if you look at material in project, I told you 70-75% of the cost in any project will go for material, and the other is just for labor. Do you have any question about this? Yes, sir.
نسبة الخطر أحيانا تكون مثلا التسعير أو في وسط المشروع. على سبيل المثال عندي ماتيريال معين بسعره 100 ريال، والمفترض أنه هو يعني زيادة 105 وينزل 95 110، ولكن في وسط المشروع تكون مشاريع ضخمة حكومية مثلا سحبت كل المتواجد في السوق، فارتفع مثلا ارتفاع غير طبيعي. فما أعرف نسبة الخطر هذه شلون نحددها مثلا، يعني هي تجي في أوقات معينة يعني. فالآن أنا بورد لك بالتنفيذ والتوريد مثلا من عندي ومقدر على 100 ريال، فجأة في نص المشروع احتاج 50% إضافية للمشروع بسعر مثلا 130 أو 150 ريال.
That's a good question. It is still for the steel, right? Do you remember what happened last year or the year before? What happened to the steel? It jumped. And cement as well. All the material. You see, usually this is what we do. This is even for extension of time, even for anything that we would like to do in the estimate itself.